Sicily has been at the crossroads of civilizations for millennia and is one of Europe's most diverse and fascinating places to travel to. Located at the heart of the Mediterranean, the island's identity has been shaped by cultures and traditions from Africa, the Middle East, and Europe. Distinctly different from mainland Italy, Sicily offers spectacular architecture, ancient archaeological sites, vibrant urban centers, stunning natural landscapes, incredible food, and friendly people. In this video, I'm traversing Sicily on one of the most surprising and rewarding journeys I have undertaken. From the bustling streets of capital Palermo to the charming mountain towns of Enna and Erice. From the slopes of Mount Etna volcano to the ancient temples in Agrigento. From religious celebrations around Catania's festival of Saint Agatha to the tranquil nature reserves of Trapani. From seaside villages like Scopello and Taormina to the stormy coastal city of Siracusa. And from the moving earthquake memorial of Creto di Buri to the imposing baroque churches and palaces of Noto. So join me, exploring the magnificent island of Sicily. We begin our journey in Catania, Sicily's second largest city, located on the east coast of the island. Founded some 2,700 years ago, Catania brims with culture and history. But today is also an important industrial and transportation hub. At first glance, it seems a bit rough around the edges, but once you dig a little deeper, you'll find a charismatic and vibrant city with lively street markets and welcoming people.
Sempre salutato che giusto. Lo vai te.
The Piazza del Duomo, the historic central square of Catania, is filled with imposing buildings and statues and is buzzing with activity around the clock. It's a popular place to sip a coffee, indulge in some local pastries, or simply admire the striking architecture. Make sure to climb the rooftop of the Bari di Sant'Agata church for panoramic views over Catania, all the way to Mount Etna on a clear day. Not far from here are Catania's most impressive ancient ruins, the 2nd century Roman theatre, and the tranquil Via Crociferi, a narrow street famous for its extravagant baroque churches and palaces. Other notable landmarks include the Ursino Castle and the church and Benedictine monastery of San Niccolò Arena, which is now part of the city's university. While worth visiting year-round, I was lucky enough to travel to Catania during one of the busiest and most exciting religious festivals in Europe. Every year in February, an estimated 1 million people take to the streets to commemorate the life of Saint Agatha, the city's patron saint. An intriguing mix of devotion and folklore. The celebrations spread over 3 days and connect people from all walks of life. The festivities are centered around a slow procession that starts in front of the cathedral. From here, the supposed remains of Saint Agatha are carried through the streets, past crowds of people.
Fra le donne, benedetto è il frutto del tuo seno, Gesù. Cristo, pietà.
Cristo, pietà.
Signore, tu santo che sei Dio.
Abbi pietà di noi.
Madre del buon consiglio.
Prega per noi.
Madre del creatore.
While the size of the event can feel overwhelming, I found the atmosphere to be mostly calm, intimate, and sometimes even emotional. Celebrations continue day and night and include wax offerings and fireworks.
Il Signore con te. Tu sei benedetta.
We leave Catania behind and travel onwards to Mount Etna, the largest active volcano in Europe. At 3,326 meters, it dominates the landscape of eastern Sicily. Both a beautiful and fearful sight, Mount Etna has regular eruptions and is closely monitored for seismic activity. Reaching the slope of the volcano can be an adventure, especially in winter season. Strong, unexpected winds and extreme cold made trekking to the summit impossible. But lower parts could be visited with expert guides. So we're now at 2.7 kilometers, 2,700 meters, just 600 meters short of the top of Mount Etna.
And from here you can see the top of the Etna. That is the southeast crater. Down there. Yes. Because it's 2018.
From here, views were simply breathtaking. Sunny weather created a stunning contrast between black lava and white snow, all amidst a surreal, lunar-like, volcanic landscape. We take a short break to introduce you to Skillshare, the sponsor of this video. Skillshare is an online learning community for creatives and offers thousands of online courses with teachers that inspire and motivate. Whether you want to learn new editing techniques, improve your music production, or streamline your workflow and increase productivity, Skillshare has you covered. In a world where we constantly want and need to keep learning, it's essential to have access to useful and dependable information. And I find Skillshare to provide exactly that. With hands-on classes that offer step-by-step guidance and explanation of the topics you find interesting. Skillshare also has career-focused courses, with classes diving into entrepreneurship, freelancing and marketing, to name just a few. I recently discovered classes that have helped me to streamline parts of my business, all given by experts in their fields. If all this made you curious, then Skillshare has a great offer for you. The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial. Briefly visit Acireale, a small coastal city under the shadow of Mount Etna. While it has an attractive historic center, it's best known for its spectacular annual carnival, one of the best in Italy. Parades of colorfully decorated floats navigate through the streets, carrying giant puppets the size of buildings. Next destination is Taormina, one of Sicily's most popular holiday destinations, and for good reason. The town is built on the side of a mountain and offers spectacular vistas of the surrounding landscape. Narrow, steep alleys contrast with elegant shopping streets and restored medieval buildings, changing your perspective at every corner. Taormina is also home to one of the most beautifully located Greek theaters in the world, overlooking the Mediterranean coastline below. Dating from the 3rd century BC, it's the prime tourist attraction in Taormina, but is also regularly used for concerts, festivals, and other events. Make sure to walk down to the seaside as well, to explore some of the charming beaches, rocky coves and small islands, like the famous Isola Bella. Good morning from Siracusa, one of the great ancient cities here in the south of Sicily. As you can see, I'm sitting in my hotel room because when I look outside, the weather is extremely bad. The Met offices here put out a red weather warning. People are advised to stay inside, schools are closed, etc. However, I do have this small GoPro and I'm gonna head out soon just to give you an impression what this city looks like in this massive storm. I think it's even called a cyclone. So let's have a look. Walking around Siracusa during this extreme weather proved both challenging and intriguing. The streets were mostly deserted and water built up in low-lying areas, causing local flooding. People generally followed the weather warning and mostly stayed inside, either at home or in some of the restaurants and cafes that remained open. If you're in a similar situation, please always pay attention to warnings from the authorities and don't take unnecessary risks. Very epicenter of the cyclone. It's rough, it's wild, it's impressive. We feel very small right now as a human being. Mother Nature at work. Siracusa played a key role in ancient times and was one of the great powers around the Mediterranean. Founded some 2,700 years ago by Greek Corinthians and Athenians, it briefly rivaled Athens in size, before it became part of the Roman Republic and Byzantine Empire. Today, it is regarded as one of the most beautiful cities on Sicily, with atmospheric alleyways and imposing squares with stunning buildings. Siracusa's true colors returned on the morning of my departure, providing glimpses of the attractive Ortigia Peninsula and the incredible archaeological park of the Neapolis. We continue our journey to Noto, a picturesque town in the southeast of Sicily, known for its magnificent baroque architecture. Its main street is lined with graceful mansions, palaces and churches, the star of which is the massive San Niccolò Cathedral. Today's Noto is an unusual town, as it was entirely rebuilt after a devastating earthquake struck the region in 1693. In the decades that followed this tragedy, architects and city planners were given a free hand to create a perfectly proportioned urban center. After traversing eastern Sicily, we head inland to the hilltop town of Enna, surrounded by a landscape of rugged mountains and broad valleys. It has an attractive medieval center and a calm, authentic atmosphere, untouched by mass tourism. Good morning from a cold but beautiful Enna, a town that just a few days ago was covered in massive snow that has now mostly disappeared, however. I arrived here yesterday night. I'm going to spend a few hours here walking up to this spectacular castle, Castello di Lombardia. So let's have a look. we leave the cold but appealing Enna behind and drive onwards to Agrigento, through green rolling hills and farmland. Here we find the Valley of the Temples, a fascinating archaeological site, boasting some of the best preserved Greek temples outside Greece. While impressive indeed, it's almost hard to imagine these temples are merely the remnants of an even greater site, the ancient city of Agrigento, once the fourth largest city in the world. So in the evenings they actually light up the buildings, which makes it a completely different experience from the afternoon or the morning. Definitely worth staying around for. We return to the shore, this time in the southern part of Sicily, and briefly stop at the peculiar rock formations of Scala di Turchi. Freely translated as Stair of the Turks, these white cliffs are made of marl, a type of sedimentary rock, and stand in sharp contrast with the surrounding landscape. For our next destination, we follow the coastline towards Sciacca. The colorful homes of this town form the backdrop of the large and bustling fishing port below. It's a fun and interesting place to visit for a few hours, especially when some of the boats return with the catch of the day. The fishing industry forms an integral part of Sicily's economy, and the island has the largest fishing fleet in the whole of Italy. Historically, the port of Sciacca was also significant, as it formed an important commercial hub for trade with North Africa. We drive inland and traverse the Valle del Belice, a region that was tragically struck by an earthquake in 1968. Some of the main towns, such as Acireale, were severely damaged and over 200 people lost their lives. Most survivors decided to leave in the years that followed, and Acireale eventually turned into an abandoned ghost town. Not far from here, on a green hillside, stands the monument of Creto di Buri. Both an impressive and unsettling sight, this memorial is made from the ruins of Gibellina village and was created by Alberto Buri. Its maze-like layout resembles the original street plan of the town, which was hit by the same earthquake. When visiting this area, please make sure to stick to the main roads, as navigation systems sometimes suggest routes that no longer exist. We travel onwards and reach the west coast of Sicily to visit the salt pans of Saline di Trapani. These vast, shallow salt pools stretch from the city of Trapani all the way to Marsala and are a remarkable sight. Most of the area is now a protected nature reserve, popular with migratory birds. But there are a few museums where you can explore the traditional salt pans and windmills. Today, a small salt industry remains, but in its heyday, this was one of the most important salt production sites in Europe. A steep road up leads us to the medieval town of Erice, one of Sicily's most beautiful mountain villages. Located 750 meters above sea level, it has 360-degree views towards the Mediterranean and valleys behind. Navigating Erice on foot feels like stepping back in time. With narrow stone-paved alleys and historic churches and castles. Don't leave the town without tasting the local specialty, Genovese Ericini. Delicious shortbread cookies with a delicate custard. We continue our journey around Sicily in the Gulf of Castellammare, a region filled with attractive towns and rugged coastal scenery. From the blue waters and crescent-shaped beach of San Vito la Capo to the castle and harbor of Castellammare del Golfo. My favorite spot here is Scopello, a seaside village set in a landscape of craggy mountains and cliffs. The main attraction here is the historic tuna factory, or tonnara, that can be visited on appointment or when you stay in the town's accommodation. We arrive in Palermo, the bustling capital city of Sicily, and our final destination. This metropolis has been at the intersection of civilizations for centuries and is influenced by cultures from the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. Famous for its history, architecture, and food, Palermo evokes the imagination of many travelers and has a distinct, almost mysterious character. The historic city center is one of the most intriguing in Europe, filled with grand churches, quiet monasteries, and baroque palaces. At the very heart stands the city's cathedral, a massive structure that has been renovated and altered multiple times over the years, but remains a great example of Sicily's unique architectural style. Not far from here is the Norman Castle, which holds one of Palermo's most visited sites, the Cappella Palatina. The chapel contains spectacular mosaics, muqarnas, and marble floors, mixed in Byzantine, Arabic, and Norman styles. Other landmarks include the Quattro Canti, nearby Pretoria Fountain, Chiesa del Gesù, and Teatro Massimo, the largest opera house in Italy. Don't miss the small No Mafia Memorial, where you can learn about the city's struggle with the mafia, and the peaceful monastery of Santa Caterina d'Alessandria. Both a church and cloister, this complex is a world in itself, and also houses a traditional bakery, serving one of Sicily's most celebrated desserts, the cannoli. While you can spend days admiring Palermo's stunning buildings, I found exploring the city streets and alleys perhaps even more fascinating. From neglected neighborhoods filled with colorful street art to vibrant markets where local vendors sell fresh produce. Palermo surprises at every corner.
Carcioffe, recitiamo! Caverà €1 ra! Raggiungi no, via,
On top of all this, the city is also gaining a reputation for its delicious street food. With mouth-watering dishes served fresh on the spot.
Oh! E cacocciola paglietta! E caccioppina! Oh, cacocciola! Pesce follia, esattamente non abbiamo €10.
And if you're still hungry in the evenings, the main streets in the old center are filled with buzzing restaurants and cafes. That concludes my journey around Sicily. A unique and diverse travel destination with remarkable historic landmarks, intriguing traditions, vibrant street scenes, spectacular natural landscapes, wonderful food and friendly people. I realize I have only scratched the surface and you could spend months exploring this Mediterranean island. Yet I still hope this video gave you some travel inspiration, or at least provided a glimpse into this captivating place. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Travel safely.